And if you hear a super loud noise, it's because he has jumped over the barricade that I made. Hi everyone, it's Natalie, also known as Knitty Natty, and you have found me here on my YouTube podcast channel, Love and Stitches. So this is the second episode of the Love and Stitches podcast. So I am gonna do a longer bit of an introduction than I normally would, but I just wanted to start with today is Wednesday, January 16th, and it is a 60-degree day here in Texas. So it's the colder side of 60. Sometimes 60 degrees is warm, and today it was just a little bit chilly. So I'm hoping if I can get done before the sun goes down completely, I can go enjoy a little bit of time outside, try to get some exercise. But I live in Texas with my husband and our dog Toaster. And if you are looking around for Toaster, I have trapped him upstairs. So you probably will still hear him walking around on the floor above me. And if you hear a super loud noise, it's because he has jumped over the barricade that I made. But he has a friend over. My mother-in-law's dog is here too. So I thought 2 dogs walking around while I was trying to record was gonna be too loud. But I am a teacher. I teach reading, and I don't have a classroom, but I pull kids out of their classrooms and teach them in small groups. What else? I have a fun fact for this week. So my fun fact for this week is that I used to want to be a ballet dancer or a ballerina. From the time I was little to the time I was 16, I took ballet super seriously. I was obsessed with ballet like the way I'm obsessed with knitting now. With the summer before my 8th grade year, I think, I went and studied at the Atlanta Ballet for 5 weeks one summer, and then the summer after that, I studied at the Houston Ballet for 6 weeks, and then the summer after that, I quit. So I totally burned out. So if you have kids that are really into something like maybe it's dance or gymnastics or swimming, just keep on encouraging them to do it. And I mean, I used to go to ballet for hours after school every day, and Saturdays it would be like half the day, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I know my mom had to make a lot of sacrifices to pay for it and to take me there. And when I quit, she was shocked. She did not know what to do. So if that happens with your kids, you know, just let them keep on learning, because once I finished, when ballet was no longer bringing me joy, it took me a little while, but then I couldn't do it anymore. And that next year, I was a junior in high school. Actually, I fractured my foot, and I was happy that I did, because I couldn't dance anymore, and I knew I had to quit then. And so that same summer, I started going to a yarn store, Bliss Yarns in Brentwood, Tennessee. And a few months later, I got a job there after school, and the rest is history. I am now knitting obsessed. I worked at Bliss for many years through college, and every time I go home, I fly into the airport in Nashville and I drive to Bliss. And I don't even go home first, because that's my home away from home. So anyway, I just thought I would share another random fact with you, but let's talk about knitting now. I have a finished object. It was nearly finished last week. It would have been finished if I hadn't messed up the ribbing on my socks, but these socks are done. This color is called Helping Hippos by Lolo Did It. This color is a mystery, but it has silver stellina in it. And these are really hard to photograph. I put these on my feed today, Wednesday, and even now it's kind of like, the color is better in person. It always is, right? But these socks were so fun. I did a tutorial while I was knitting these socks and took photos along the way, and I put that on my blog today. So you can go to my blog, it's knittynatty.com, and it'll be the most recent post, but it's called How I Knit My Socks Toe Up. And I mean, it's not really a pattern. Like if you've never knit a sock before, I would recommend Susan B. Anderson's sock patterns. They have more information in them. This is more of like a sock recipe. So if you have knit a couple pairs of socks and you're just curious, like, how do other people knit socks? I give you my counts. I give you some like tips and tricks on how to like insert the fish lips kiss heel. I don't include the actual heel pattern because it's not mine. Fish lips kiss is by the socks therapist. But then I talk about my ribbing, or my bind off that I do for ribbing, and kind of a few other things. So you might find it interesting. It's got pictures, that's fun. But I also spent some time trying to find a new look for my blog so it looks different. I think it looks more professional and it looks cleaner, and I like it. So go check that out. And I have another sort of finished piece of a not finished object. And I have moved this project into a different bag to make it feel new. And I'm also gonna put a new progress keeper in it here in a minute, because if I'm starting to feel a little, I need a change in this project, I change up the progress keepers, or I change the bag or whatever. But this is my very first and only French field bag. I forgot what it's called. I bought it around Christmas time. But I have a finished piece of my Canyon cardigan by Devin Ventre, who's Knitty McPurley. And I only knit a little bit from that marker. I'm gonna take that out now. Take that marker out. But I have finished the entire bottom portion. So let me just show it to you. It's a short row shaped piece that is straight across the top. And then you can see it's got curves. But this part of the sweater is like, it comes like all the way up to here, I think. So it just goes all the way around you. And I'm really excited to get started on the next part of this. It feels good. Like I've been working on this since May. Clearly not like constantly, but yeah, I'm really excited to have that part done. The yarn I'm using, thought I saved a label somewhere, but it appears that I lost it. But the yarn that I'm using is called Cinder by Suburban Stitcher, and it's in her sock base. And it's just a really pretty light gray with darker gray or black speckled in. And I think somebody asked me about these either on Instagram, but these are by Buffy Ann Designs, and they're like these little socks. And there's so many different versions of these, but these are the first ones I ever found, and so I have a lot of them. But basically you wind your cake of yarn, and then what I do is before I take the cake off the ball winder, I stretch this over it. And so then I just have these nice cakes, and then I pull from the center. And these things will hold that, like, you know how center pull balls collapse? These things will actually hold onto them until they're like, I don't know, less like 5 grams, 2 grams left. I mean, they really do hold on to them for a long time. And these have been in a project bag wound since May, and they look perfect, right? So you know that they're a really good product. But I know somebody might ask, has asked me about these before, so you might be curious what they were. Okay, so that's done. Now, the only whip that I've got going right now is actually a design. So I'm gonna talk about that. So a month ago, I don't remember, Malia from Malia Made It contacted me and asked if I would design a self-striping sock pattern. So I'm showing you this before I'm completing the story. I should complete the story. But she asked me if I would design a sock for her self-striping socks. And I said, of course, I said yes right away, because her yarn is so fun. She does so many Harry Potter colorways and fandom colorways that I've been following her for a while and really liking her stuff. But I was nervous to design a self-striping sock pattern, because it can be really hard to get that right. Like, you don't want too much pattern that it looks funny, but you don't want not enough pattern that it's boring. So I was nervous in a good way. I was kind of like exhilarated to try to figure out this mystery. So we decided to work for a Valentine's Day collaboration. So this is what she came up with. And I'm not going to tell you the name quite yet because it's just so fun. Like, I have testers that just bought some of this yarn to test it for me. And I'm not sure if she had the name for them already up there, but I think it would be fun for them to be surprised if they haven't already seen it. But this is the Valentine's colorway that Malia's gonna have coming out very soon. But I am working on the pattern right now, so I thought I would show you a little sneak peek. Oh, it also has a mini, if you would like a mini. And this is looking very red, but it's one of those colors that it's like, is it red? Is it pink? It definitely looks red compared to the pink, but if you saw it on its own, you could definitely call it sort of a hot pink. Okay, so what I've come up with is a textured pattern that is gonna be directed by when your next stripe is coming up. So here's a little sneak peek of it. Oh, I've got my Chocolate Frog Progress Keeper, and I think this one is from Lindsay Simply Serving. I think that's where this one is from. I have another one by another maker, but I wasn't really happy with it, and then I saw Lindsay's and I got another one because I love Harry Potter. But it is a textured pattern with a little bit more texture. These are called Teeny Baubles. But yeah, I haven't really gotten through a full repeat yet, but you can just kind of see that you can see the stripes, but they're not being totally, it's not just knitting, you know? There's a little more to it. So I'm excited to keep working on that. My testers are already picked out, and we will be starting on testing that pattern on Tuesday, pending a February 14th release date for the pattern. Just to be completely on theme, I have a Harry Potter bag that I got in my advent calendar from Dragon Hoard Yarn and Yarn Cafe Creations, and it's from By the Bay Yarn Company. But yeah, it's got all the house crests on it. Okay, that's all that I've been working on, but I do have some yarn to show you. So I have taken 2 trips recently. 2 trips. I went to New Orleans over the winter break, and then last weekend I went to Houston for a wedding. So I was able to stop at some yarn stores, and I'm gonna show you what I got. So, I have like a whole basket here of stuff. There we go. So I went in New Orleans, I went to the Quarter Stitch, which I've always liked that shop, but this time it seemed like they had so much more like indie dyers and just a lot of things that I was interested in. I had a hard time narrowing it down. So the first thing that caught my eye was from Primrose Yarn Company, and it was this really pretty purple called Mischief Managed. So the color attracted me because purple, New Orleans, and then I saw it was called Mischief Managed, which is a Harry Potter reference, and I was sold. So I set it down and walked over and found this Primrose yarn, which is also called Mischief Managed. They're the same color. They look a little different in the mohair versus this is 3-ply sport weight. But yeah, I think that I can use these together, and that would be super fun. Don't really have a plan for it yet. And then the other thing I got at the Quarter Stitch in New Orleans, I've been looking for the right yarn for a design that I have in my head, and I think I finally found it. So I got these 2 skeins of Malabrigo worsted, I think. Yeah, Malabrigo worsted. The color is called Pink Frost. And to go with it, I got another skein of Primrose. I love Kelsey's yarn. I think it's Kelsey. And this is called Crazy Right Now. So let me just show you what they look like. They're gonna be used together in a scarf. So I'm excited to get to work on that. Then on last weekend when we went to the wedding, we were driving towards Houston-ish, and so I told my husband, there's a yarn store I've been wanting to go to. It's outside of Houston. I don't know if it's, on Dallas side of Houston, on the other side. Houston is so big, but fortunately it was not on our way. It was only slightly out of the way. So while we were driving to the wedding last Saturday, we went like 30 minutes out of the way, went to the shop, and then went back towards the wedding, which I really appreciate my husband doing that for me. So the Modern Skein is in Montgomery, Texas, and they are the coolest shop. Sharon is the owner. I think maybe her and her husband, but I know she's the one who's there all the time. She's always posting on Instagram. And it's the cutest little downtown area, all kinds of different restaurants and shops. A lot of them were like closed on Saturday. Like it's that small of a place. But the yarn store, like it is packed with yarn, packed but not messy, I promise. It has all the brands that are hot right now. And Sharon's goal is to have yarn from every continent in her store. I didn't ask her how she was gonna get yarn from Antarctica, but if there's a actual yarn company or somebody in Antarctica, which I don't believe there is, Sharon would find a way. So she had all these cool yarns, some that I've heard of but never been able to see in person, and one of those was Ching. So Ching fiber is, I believe, somewhere in Europe. I'm not hand dyed in the UK. So in the UK, and I've had this pattern in my head for a crocheted shawl for a while. So I picked out 3 colors of Ching to go together. Actually, I picked out like 8 colors, and my husband helped me put these 3 colors together. So this one is called Denim, and I know the sun is setting, so hopefully you can see the color okay. This one is from their Bedrock collection, and it's called Blue Finch. There's a T in there, I don't know. It's pretty though. And then this one is called Caviar. So yeah, I'm planning to use those together. They're a single ply base, and I think it'll be really pretty. And then I like to, if I can, get something from local shops that has their name on it, or maybe it's a color that's only dyed for them. And so I got this. And this is by Yarn Carnival, which is made in Texas, but I don't remember exactly where. I've seen them a lot. They do a lot of trunk shows around me. And this is just a 3-ply superwash merino fingering weight, but the color is called the Modern Skein. So this kind of looks like, I don't know why, it reminds me of them, so maybe it's their logo, but this was dyed just for them, so I thought that would be really fun. And I'm planning to, even though it doesn't look like a tightly spun, it does say superwash merino, so I think I'll make some socks out of it pretty soon here. Okay, one more thing. This is not something I bought, but rather a friend gave me, a very sweet friend. I have a friend that is obsessed with Etsy. If she's watching, I don't know if she does. You know who you are. And she always is getting the most gorgeous stitch markers. So she had some stitch markers, and I just thought they were so pretty. And the next week or 2 later, she showed up with those stitch markers she bought for me. So aren't they pretty? They're just like, they're gonna keep jiggling around, but they're just like these glass roses. And then the set came with one that has another hanging part. That's like your beginning of round marker. And then it had one other one to go with it. Oh, that was so pretty. And these are from, let's see, Knitter's Serendipity. So if you want to go get some pretty glass stitch markers and support some makers on Etsy, you can go to Knitter's Serendipity. Okay, I think I got everything. Thank you all. If you have returned to watch another episode, I so appreciate it. I have really enjoyed getting to do this, and also getting to interact and meet new people. I've had a lot of people friend me on Ravelry, hi. But thank you so much for coming back and watching another episode. If this was your first one, welcome, and I cannot wait to get to know you better. All right, guys, thanks so much. Bye.